Jai Mahamaya ki Jai Vishveshwari Mata ki Jai. It appears I got ahead of myself because I read ahead before I do this discourse each day. So actually, the reading should have been back on chapter 17 instead of 20, which I did yesterday. So we'll fill in here. Chapter 17, Sri Narayan said, O Narada, the wife of the king was Madhavi. Going to the sacred mountain, she began to enjoy with great gladness the pleasure of the king. The bed was strewn with flowers and scented with sandalwood paste. Her whole body was elegant. Besides, it was adorned with jewels of all kinds. It seemed as if the Creator created especially for the king this lovely lady, Madhavi, expert in amorous affairs. So neither of them wanted to desist from amorous enjoyments. 100 divine years passed in this way. The king then got back his consciousness and desisted from his amorous embraces. And by the Deva's influence, the queen became pregnant and conceived for 100 years. In the womb there was the incarnation of Lakshmi, and the body's luster increased day by day in the queen. Then on an auspicious day, at an auspicious moment, auspicious yoga, at an auspicious amsa, and on an auspicious combination of planetary rulers and their houses, the queen delivered on the full moon night of the month of Kartika, one beautiful daughter, the incarnation parts of Lakshmi. The face of the child looked like the autumnal moon. Her 2 eyes resembled autumnal lotuses, and her upper and lower lips looked beautiful, like ripe mimba fruits. The daughter began no sooner it was born to look on all sides of the lying-in room. The palm and lower parts of her feet were red like a deva. The navel was deep, and there were 3 wrinkles. Her loins were circular. Her body was hot in the winter and cold in the summer, and pleasant to touch. Her hair on her head was hanging like the roots of the fig tree. Men and women cannot compare her beauty. The body was, the holy wise men named her Tulsi, and as soon as she was born, she looked of the female sex, full in every way. Though prevented repeatedly by all, she went to the forest for practicing tapasya. There she practiced hard tapasya for 1,00,000 divine years. Her main object was to get Narayana for her husband. In summer, she practiced pranchapata, surrounded by fires on 4 sides, and on the top, the sun. And in the winter, she remained in water, and the rainy season, she remained in the open air and endured the shower of rains 20,000 years. She passed the day thus in eating only fruits and water. For 30,000 years, she sustained only on the leaves of trees. When the 40,000th year came, she subsisted only on air, and her body became thinner and thinner day by day. On seeing, then for 10,000 years after she left eating anything whatsoever and without any aim, stood on only 1 leg. At this time, the lotus-born Brahma, seeing this, appeared there to grant her a boon. On seeing him, Tulsi immediately bowed down before him, the 4-faced one, riding on his vehicle, the swan. He then addressed her and said, O Tulsi, ask any boon you like, whether it be devotion to haughty, servantship to Hari, freedom from old age or freedom from death, I will grant this to you. Tulsi said, Father, I now say you my mind. Here, what is the use of hiding away my views out of fear or shame? One who knows everything reigning in my heart. I am Tulsi Gopi, go cow herder. I used to dwell before in the Golaka. I was dear Shish, servant of Radhika, the beloved of Krishna. I was also born of her in part. Her Sakhis, male attendants, used to love me. Once in the Rasa Mandalam, I was enjoyed by Govinda, but I was not satiated, and while I was lying down in an unconscious state, Radha, the governess-in-chief of the Rasic circle, came there and saw me in that state. She rebuked Govinda and out of anger cursed me, go at once and be warned as a human body. At this Govinda spoke to me, if you go and practice tapas in Bharata, Brahma will get pleased and he will grant you your boons. When you will get Narayana, the four-armed, born of me in part as your husband. O Father, thus speaking, Sri Krishna disappeared out of sight. Out of Radha's fear, I quitted my body and am now born in this world. Now grant me the boon that I get the peaceful, loving, beautiful Narayana for my husband. Brahma said, O child Tulsi, that cowherd, Sudama, was born of Sri Krishna's body. At the present time, he is very energetic. He too, under the curse of Radhika, has come and taken his birth amongst the demons. He is named Sanka, chuda. No one is equal to him in strength. In Golaka, when he saw you before, he was overpowered with passion for you. Only out of Radha's influence he could not embrace you. The Sudama knows all about his previous births, and you too are Jati Smara, that is, knowing there is nothing unknown to you. O beautiful one, you will now be his wife. Afterwards you will get Narayana, the beautiful and lovely, for your husband. Thus, under the curse of Narayana, you will be transformed into the world-purifying Tulsi tree. You will be the foremost amongst the flowers and will be dearer to Narayana than his life. No one's worship will be complete without thee as leaf. You will remain as a tree in Vrindavana, and you will be widely known there. The Gopas and Gopis will worship Mahmadava with your leaves. Being the presiding deity of the Tulsi tree, you will always enjoy the company of Krishna, the best of the Gopas. O Narada, thus hearing Brahma's word, the deity Tulsi became very glad, smiled appeared on her face, and she then bowed to the Creator. O Father, I speak now truly to thee that I am not a devotee, as devoted to the four-armed Narayana as I am devoted to Shyama, Krishna, the two-armed. For my intercourse with Govinda Sri Krishna was suddenly interrupted, and my desire was not gratified. Now it appears certain that by thy grace I will get again my Govinda, very hard to be attained. But, O Father, do this that I not be afraid of Radha. Brahma said, O child, I now give you the 16-lettered Radha mantra to you. By her grace, you will be dear to Radha as her life. Radhika will not be able to know anything of your secret dealings, O fortunate. You will be dear to Govinda like Radha. Thus saying, Brahma, the creator of the world, gave her the 16-lettered Radha mantra, her strota, her kabaka, and mode of worship, and he blessed her. Tulsi then engaged herself in worshipping Radha as directed. By the boon of Brahma, Tulsi attained siddhi, success, like Lakshmi. Out of the power of the Siddha mantras, she got her desired boons. She became fortunate in getting various pleasures hard to attain in this world. Her mind became quiet. All the toils of tapasya disappeared. When one gets the fruit of one's labor, all the troubles then transform to happiness. She then finished her food and drink and slept on a beautiful bed strewn with flowers and scented with sandal paste. Here ends the 17th chapter of the 9th book, the anecdote of Tulsi in the Srimad Devi Bhagavatam of 18,000 verses by Maharishi Veda Vyasa. And we'll go right on to chapter 18. Jnana said, thus highly pleased, Tulsi went to sleep with Gladden Heart. She, the daughter of Vrishabhaja, was then in her blooming youth, and while asleep, the Cupid, the god of 5 arrows, shot her 5 arrows. Though the Devi was smeared with sandalwood paste and she slept in a bed strewn with flowers, her body was felt as if being burnt. Out of the joy, the hair stood up on her body, and her eyes were reddened. Sometimes she felt uneasiness, sometimes dryness, sometimes she felt faint, sometimes drowsiness, sometimes again pleasantness. Sometimes she became conscious, sometimes sorrowful, sometimes she got up from her bed, sometimes she sat. The flower bed strewn with sandalwood paste appeared to her full of thorns. Nice delicious fruits and cold fruit appeared to be like poisons. Her house appeared to be like a hole in the ground, and her fine garments seemed to her like fire. The marks of her sindoor on her forehead appeared as if they were a boilless sore. She began to see in her dreams that one beautiful, well-clothed, humorous young man with a smile on his lips appeared before her. His body was besmeared with sandalwood paste, decked with excellent jewels and garlands of flowers. Coming there, he was drinking the honey of her lotus face. He was speaking love themes and on various other sweet topics, as if he was embracing amorously and enjoying the pleasures of her. After going away, again he was coming near. The lady was addressing him, "O darling, O Lord of the heart, where do you go? Come close." Thus on entering in her youth, the Devi Tulsi began to live in the hermitage of Badari, plum fruit. Those who visit Badari are not to enter again in any womb. On the other hand, the great yogi Sanka Chuda obtained the Krishna mantra from Maharishi Jagasabhya and got siddhi success in Pushkaratirtha. Holding on his neck, the Kavaka named Sarvamangala Maya, and obtaining the boon from Brahma as he desired, he arrived at Badari by Brahma's command. The signs of the blooming youth had just begun to be visible in the body of him, as if the god of love incarnate in his body. His color resembled that of the white kampaka, and all the body was decked with jewels and ornaments. His face resembled the autumnal full moon, his eyes extended like the lotus leaves. The beautiful form was seen to sit in an excellent aerial car made of pearls and jewels. His body was covered with garlands, and his body was smeared with the kumkum and scented sandalwood paste. O Narada, seeing Sanchuta coming near to her, Tulsi covered her face by her cloth, and she, with a smiling countenance, cast repeatedly sidelong glances at him, and with her head bowed low. How beautiful was that clear face of her! It put down the autumnal moon in the background. The invaluable jewels ornamented were on her toes. Her braid of hair was surrounded by sweet-scented malati garlands. On her arms and hands were jeweled bangles and conch and ornaments. Jeweled armlets and jeweled rings were seen. O Muni, seeing that lovely, beautiful, chaste woman of good nature, Sanka came to her and, taking his seat, addressed her as follows. O proud one, O auspicious one, who are you? Whose daughter are you? You look fortunate and blessed among women. I am your silent slave. Talk with me. That beautiful-eyed Tulsi, full of love, replied with smiling countenance and face bent low, I am the daughter of the great king Rasavaja. I have come to this forest for tapasya and engaged in this. Who are you? What business have you to talk with me? You can go away whenever you like. I have heard in the sastras that persons born of noble families never speak with ladies of a respectable family in privacy. Only those that are lewd, void on any knowledge of the Dharma sastras, void of the Vedic knowledge, speak with women in privacy. And those women, too, that look externally beautiful but passionate, are the death of males, who are sweet-tongued but filled with vexen in their hearts, those that are sweet externally but like a sword internally, those that are always bent in achieving their own selfish ends, and those that become obedient to their husbands for their own selfish ends, otherwise behaving as they like, those that are filled with inside with dirty things and outside looking pleasant in their eyes and faces, whose characters are pronounced as defiled, intelligent. What intelligent, learned, and noble-minded man can trust them? Those women do not discriminate who are their friends and who are their enemies. They want always new persons. Whenever they see a man well dressed, they want to satisfy their passions, and they pretend with great care that they are very chaste. They verbally shew that they want other men to go away, but at heart's feeling of being with them remain preponderant. Whenever they see their paramount in private, they laugh and become very glad, but externally their shame knows no bounds. When their passions are satisfied fully, they become glad, and whenever there is a deficiency in that, they become sorrowful. For the sake of good and sweet food and cold drinks, they want beautiful young persons, qualified and humorous. Quarrels and anger then ensue, and they devour their men as serpents eat rats. They are boisterous, personified, and they are the source of all evils and vices. Even Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva remain deluded before these kind of women. They are the greatest obstacles in the path of tapasya and the closed door for liberation. The Creator Bhagavan has created them in such that the Maya and the venom to those who want liberation, and invisible to those that want to have them. Thus saying, Tulsi stopped. O Narada, Sanka then smiling addressed her as follows. O Devi, what you have spoken is not wholly false. Partly it is true, and partly it is false. Now here, the Creator has created this all-enchanting female form into two parts. One is praiseworthy and the other is not. He has created Lakshmi, Saraswati, Durga, Savitri, and Radha and others as the primary causes of creation, so these are the prime creation. Those women that are born of their parts are auspicious, glorious, and much praiseworthy. Satarupa, Swaha, Swada, Dakshini, Rohini, Varuni, Sachi, the wives of Kubera, Aditi, Tulsi, Meena, Tara, Vata, Ganga, Manasa, Swasta, Shraddha, Santi, Kanti, Sati, Nidra, Tandra, Sudha, and other women born of the prime Prakritis are all excellent in every yuga. The prostitutes of the heavens are also born of the above women in their parts, and parts of they are not praiseworthy in the universe. They are all regarded as unchaste women. Those women that are of sattvic guna are all excellent and endowed with influence. In the universe, they are good, chaste, praiseworthy. This is not false. The pundits declare them excellent. Those that are of rajas guna and tamas guna are not so praiseworthy. These women that are of rajas guna are known as middling. They are always fond of enjoyment, yields to them, and always ready to achieve their own ends. These women are generally insincere, delusive, and outside the pale of religious duties. Therefore, they are generally unchaste. The pundits consider them as middling. Those women that are the tamas guna are considered as worse. Those born of the noble families can never speak with other wives in private place or when they are alone. By Brahma's command, I have come to you, O fair one. I will marry you now, according to the Gandharva method. My name is Sanka, chuda. The Devas fly away from me out of terror. Before I was the intimate friend of Sri Hari by the name of Sudama. Now, by Radhika's curse, I am born in the family of the demons. I was a attendant of Sri Krishna and the chief of the 8 Gopas. Now, by Radhika's curse, I am born as Sankachuda, the Indra of the Danavas. By Sri Krishna's grace and by his mantra, I know all of my past births. You too are knowing this, Tulsi. Sri Krishna enjoyed you before by Radhika's anger. You are now born in Bharata. I was very eager to enjoy you then. Out of Radhika's fear, I could not. Thus saying, Sankachuda stopped. Then Tulsi, gladly and smiling, replied, Such persons like you are famous in this world. Good women desire such a husband. Really, I am now defeated by your arguments. The man who is conquered by woman is very impure and blamed in the community. The picturelokas, the devalokas, and the Gandharva loka look upon men overpowered by women as most despicable. Even father and mother and brother do not like him. The Pitris never accept willingly the pandas and offerings of water offered by the man who is conquered by a woman, so much so that the Devas even hesitate to accept flowers from them. Those whose hearts are entirely subdued by men do not acquire any fruits from their knowledge. Tapasya, japam, 5 sacrifices. I tested you to ascertain your strength in learning. It is highly advisable to choose one's husband by examining his merits and defects. For a period equal to the 14 Indra's life periods, they are bitten by women and crows. At the expiry of that period, they will have to be born in this world of men as diseased persons. Thus saying, when Tulsi stopped, Brahma appeared on the scene and addressed Sankachuda. O king, why are you spending uselessly your time in vain talking with Tulsi? Marry her soon by the Gandharva method. As you are a gem amongst males, so she is a gem amongst females. It is a very happy union between a humorous lover and a humorous beloved. O king, who despises the great happiness when it is at one's hand? He who forsakes the pleasures is worse than a beast in this world. O Tulsi, and what for are you testing the nobility of this qualified person who is the tormentor of the Devas, Asuras, and Danavas? O child, as Lakshmi Devi is of Narayana, as Radhika of Krishna, as my Savitri is, as Babas is Bhavani's, and as Borj is earth, and his yagyas is Dakshina. Gautama's Abhaya, Moon's Rohini, Brihaspati's Tara, Kasyap's Aditi, Fire's Svaha, Indra's Sachi, Ganesha's Pushti, Skanda and Dharmamurti. So let you be the dear wife of Sanka Chuda, beautiful as he is, for a long time, and enjoy with him in various places as you like. When Sanka Chuda will quit his mortal frame, you would go to Golaka and enjoy easily with the two-armed Sri Krishna, and in Vaikuntha with the four-armed Krishna, and with great pleasure. Here ends the 18th chapter of the 9th book on the union of Sankachuda with Tulsi in the Mahadeva Puranam Srimad Devi Bhagavatam of 18,000 verses. Jai Mahamaya Ki Jai. We'll continue with 19 tomorrow.